Appointment of Ms. Nancy E. Crawford as Finance Director, waived GREDC.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Ms. Yoff, would you please make the motion?
Move to approve Nancy Crawford as Finance Director.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Yoff. Good morning, Nancy. You want to begin by saying anything?
Well, good morning to everyone. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here in front of you today and welcome any questions that you might have. I've enjoyed the privilege of working in the finance department now for 12 years, first under Bill Takaba, and then the last 4 years in the Kanoy administration as finance director. I work with a really wonderful team of committed people and appreciated the opportunity to try to communicate, try to make a commitment and offer our services to the public and to the county. So, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy or Ms. Crawford. Any comments, Ms. Willie?
Yes, Nancy, I just want to say I really appreciate you. There may be times we disagree, but I feel you present things in a very clear manner and straightforward and in a form that even someone that's not good at numbers can understand. So I just want to say I support you and I appreciate your efforts and your commitment and your staff's commitment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Mr. Kern?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I totally support Nancy for this position. She's done a great job the last 4 years in one of the most difficult economic times that we've had. It's been great. It's been great working with her. Been very open and educating us wherever we need to, always responsive. So I totally support you. Thank you for being willing to do that. Being the department head is not necessarily an easy job filled with glory. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kern. Mr. Ilagan?
Director, you have many great traits, but one of the things that I really like about you is that when you are here when we need to ask some questions, and you send out representatives to, so when we have a question to ask, we can ask them. I like that part about you, and I want to encourage you to keep that up and for the next 2 years while I'm in council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I might just add that we definitely intend to increase our public outreach and education to bring everyone up to speed with what we do.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Crawford. Ms. Poindexter?
Yeah, I too want to say thank you for always being available to us whenever we need you. And before I was on the county council, you came out to Hamakua, you and your staff, so I have seen the outreach that you have done, and I really appreciate that. So, and thank you for being that compassionate person you are, because even if, like Margaret says, we can agree to disagree, I can raise my level of voice and you always stay at that calm. So thank you for being who you are, and I am supporting you. Thank you.
Okay.
Aloha.
Thank you, Ms. Poindexter. Ms. Yoff?
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you also to Ms. Crawford and her team. They're all very, very helpful to staff and council members, and I really appreciate helping us to understand really complicated matters and to do with the budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yoff. Ms. Ford, followed by Mr. Onishi.
Thank you. Nancy, because I've been here for 6 years, I can say definitively that there are times we don't agree. It's not a may or possibly, it's for sure. But I really, really respect you and your team, especially Deanna. I work with you two more than probably anybody else. I appreciate that you are willing to talk to me multiple times on the same issue, if that's what it takes, because it does take that sometimes. I have one request of you. And if the answer comes back no, I will deal with it as I possibly can. But I personally believe, and you both know this, that the county council should have the right to set up special funds And right now, unless we get it on a charter amendment, we can't do that. It must come from the mayor's or his administration. My request is that you, as the administration, forward a bill to us to grant us the right to create special funds if we think that is necessary. That's my request. And if your answer comes back no, and you can tell me that privately so I don't scream in public, I will deal with whatever I have to do. That's my request. But I do want to thank you and your entire staff. They're all wonderful. They're all knowledgeable. They're all very talented. They're all very hardworking. And I enjoy working with you, even if sometimes I want things that you don't want to give me. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ford. Mr. Onishi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nancy, for the past 4 years, you're a great working relationship with me, and your door is always open. And I guess that's like the policy of the administration. The mayor, he always said that, his staff and his directors are always, willing to talk to the council members, and you folks are still continuing that. So, I look forward, and you have my total support. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Onishi. Mr. Kanuha.
Mahalo, Chair. I also appreciate Nancy's leadership, and my policy too, what Mr. Onishi said, is the open door policy, and with your department it's always the open door policy. Whenever we have questions to ask, you're always there to call back, even if you're in meetings, really important meetings. There's always that call back, and ditto everything everybody else said, but thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Kanuha. And Nancy, you know how I feel. You're a terrific person. You do your job well, and we're very, very happy to have you come back.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to close by saying anything, or?
No, I would just echo my opening statements, which I really appreciate the opportunity to serve the county and in this role and work with a really delightful team of within the department and the county and here on the council as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Okay, no further discussion. Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Eoff.
Aye.
Ms. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Iligan.
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha.
Aye.
Mr. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Onishi. Ms. Poindexter.
Aye.
Ms. Willie. Chair Yoshimoto.
Aye.
Chair Yoshimoto, you have 9 ayes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The appointment of Nancy Crawford as Finance Director is approved. Next item. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Communication 105, appointment of Lincoln S.T. Ashida as Corporation Counsel from Mayor Billy Canoy, dated January 9th, 2013, submitting for Council's confirmation the appointment of Mr. Lincoln S.T. Ashida as Corporation Counsel, waive GREDC.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Lincoln Ishida as Corporation Counsel.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eoff. Good morning, Mr. Ashida.
Good morning.
You can begin if you have any opening comments or...
Thank you to the council for considering our nominations today before the full council and waiving them through committee. I've served for now 26 years in the county of Hawaii. There's a time when I started on November 2nd, 1987. I was the youngest lawyer on the island. That was obviously a long time ago. I served for 13 years as deputy prosecuting attorney, and this now is my 13th year as corporation counsel for the county. And as Ms. Crawford said, and I believe that all the other cabinet members and all of you will attest, there's something very special about serving the people, serving in government. For me, what I really enjoy is being able and having the privilege and honor of serving in a place where I was born and raised. And people say, well, it's giving back. They use that term, giving back, but I don't feel like it's that. It's more like a responsibility. We have a collective responsibility to make our island better for everyone, visitors, newcomers, people who have lived here all their lives. And that is a privilege and an honor, and it's something that I hope to continue with your blessing. So with that, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. By the way, I'd also like to publicly acknowledge a lot of our staff that's here today. They have been the very best group of professionals that you can ever hope to work for or work with. Everybody knows Martha Rodilis is the real boss. Kathy Garson is the brains, and everybody else does the work. I just make the coffee in the morning, unless Mike Udovic beats me into the office, and he makes the coffee first. But they are the greatest group of professionals and friends that you can ever hope to surround yourself with and be with. I love and respect them all, and I just wanted to recognize them and thank them for being here today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ishida. Why don't we start with Mr. Kern?
Thank you, Chair. I've had the pleasure of working with Lincoln's staff before I really got to know Lincoln and work with Lincoln on the Planning Commission, and it's great. It's I think you see the true qualities of a leader through the people that are working with them. Staff was great, well trained, and then we had the opportunity to start working together on the council and go to the trainings, and the trainings are amazing. Every time I call you, I get an answer, I get it quick, and it's non-biased. It's the law. It's from an attorney, and I really appreciate that. It's straight up. I think it's important to, just acknowledge that that's a really big department with a lot of people, a lot of complexity that you manage. And I think you've been doing a great job at that, and obviously truly committed to public service. 26 years is a long time, so I appreciate that. Fully got my support, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you, Mr. Kern.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kern. Ms. Poindexter?
I'd like to say, too, that thank you for always being available to us when we need you, you and your staff, and wonderful, Ms. Rodilis back there. Thank you for all of that. And like what Mr. Councilmember Kern said, it's just straight up. When we ask you something, it's just straight up. Just here, all on the table, whether it's said bluntly or not, no hidden agendas, and I so appreciate that. So I am supporting you. Thank you. Aloha.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Poindexter. Mr. Onishi?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, Lincoln, we go way back.
Oh, man, you stop right there, and I'm going to take the fifth on that, and I would advise you do the same, brother.
But, I totally support you, and you know how I feel about you, and thank you. And, to you, like you said, your staff, and I have to echo, like I told Nancy, like your staff is always open to, and you have that open door policy, and thank you very much, and good job.
Mr. Chairman, I got to tell you that Fresh and I were childhood playmates because our fathers played Makule softball together for Hoyukai, the big 16-inch softball. On Sundays, we used to tag along, and we used to be playmates when they used to go drink beer at Hilo Honganji after.
Hey, don't say that stuff.
Okay, yeah, I know. Take my own advice. I'm going to shut up now.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, Miss Willie.
Okay. Lincoln, I admire your legal ability and your managerial ability, your staff. I think you do a great job in those areas. I do have major concerns in terms of what I see as a conflict of interest. That's not to you personally. That's to the way the office is set up or the departments are set up. I do not believe that you as one person can humanly, adequately represent this council and the executive branch at the same time. Now, they don't always come into conflict, and often one can merge and resolve those issues. But as I see it, where there is a conflict, that your alliance is naturally with the executive branch. I think that situation is exacerbated by your being in what I call the mayor's cabinet, which is sort of adds an extra layer or political layer of sort of managing in some ways the executive branch or trying to balance those different interests. And I think this also comes out in terms of what is the role of the Corporation Council as a legal advisor or to some extent making and deciding on policy. Some of these questions, it's not that there's a right or wrong. I happen to feel strongly that it should not be a political office department policy that we are the policymakers, the executive branch is the executive branch. You are the legal advisor, not the political or policy advisor. So I think that aside, you know, it really is a matter of whether there should be someone separate that, at least in terms of substance, is representing us rather than having the same person on the list. If you look at who's responsible for the Corporation Counsel and the mayor, it is both you with Kathy as the backup, as the representatives. I think the one other area that I want to bring up in this isn't so much as structural, is really in terms of support for the community development plans, in terms of supporting the authority of those boards. In at least North and South Kohala, numerous people have dropped off because they did not feel they have the administration support. And I know you said to me, Margaret, you're talking to the choir, but I don't really see that in practice. I see people just recently, what's her name, Giovanna, dropped off. It's a major concern to me. And likewise, what is the authority? I mean, members of your staff have said, oh no, we consider that provision of the South Kohala CDP to be illegal. We don't, you know, we don't consider that to be enforceable. So I really feel there's a major problem here. I don't feel it's being fully addressed, and it's going to continue to be something that's of great concern to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Willie. Mr. Kanuha?
Mahalo. I fully support your nomination and appreciate the hard work that you put in, and as well as your leadership with not only within this county, but you can see it funneled down through all of the staff, and they all have a great attitude. It's fully supportive. The open door policy, again, as I stated before, is fully there, and I appreciate working with you and the rest of the department and the rest of everybody else. So I fully support your nomination, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mr. Kanuha.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kanuha. Mr. Lagin?
As Corporation Counsel, Mr. Ishida, I gotta say you're a smart lawyer, and you provide excellent class training for us counsel. And as a person, you make good coffee and a good taste of color in ties, I must admit. So as in that, I will support you.
Thank you, Mr. Lagin. Okay, Ms. Yoff.
Thank you. I too wanted to say thank you to Mr. Ishida and his wonderful attorneys in the office. I have had the privilege of working for probably almost 8 years, first for Councilman Pelago, and then when I staffed the Charter Commission and the Redistricting Commission, I found all the attorneys in your office to be very, very helpful, open and accessible, and just down-to-earth people. So thank you very much, and I'll support your...
Thank you, Ms. Yoff.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Yoff. Any other comments? Ms. Will, you still have your light on? Are you done? Okay. Okay, I don't see any further comments. Mr. Ishida, again, thank you for your willingness to serve. I think you know, your hard work and dedication speaks for itself. You have my support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Eoff?
Aye.
Ms. Ford?
No.
Mr. Iligan?
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha?
Aye.
Mr. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Onishi?
Aye.
Ms. Poindexter?
Aye.
Ms. Willie?
No.
Chair Yoshimoto?
Aye.
Chair Yoshimoto, you have 7 ayes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. The appointment of Lincoln S.T. Ishida as Corporation Counsel is approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, the next item on the agenda.